Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, we are talking mommy makeovers, Ozempic face, and so much more of the advancements in plastic surgery, how far it's come, how not to get crazy scars, how to make sure you're choosing the right person, and how to make sure you look and feel your best with one of my favorite plastic surgeons, Dr. Joshua Zuckerman, who is in studio with us and will be joining the show right after this brief break. See you in a bit. Hi, it's your host, Madison Malloy. For those of you who don't know, I've written and created a powerful collection of books to help you build confidence, shift your mindset, and attract the life you truly want. From Time to Lighten the F Up, to Affirm and Flourish, Color Your Way to Abundance, and more. These aren't just books, they're tools for transformation. Grab a copy now on Amazon or at madisonmalloy.com. Now back to the show. All right, we are back on this very fun episode. We are talking mommy makeovers and all things plastic surgery to make you look and feel your best. I have got one of my favorite plastic surgeons on with me today. He has helped me look a little bit younger. Maybe we'll talk about what I did. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But Dr. Joshua Zuckerman, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Madison. Good to see you again.
I'm excited for you to be here. So you are like the guru when it comes to mommy makeovers.
Well, I like to think so, yeah. I mean, most of my practices, it's geared at young moms. You know, you've had a baby, and things are not what they used to be. The boobs are deflated, the tummy's stretched out, a little, you name it. And you want to get back to how you were before you pushed out a couple of kids. I'm there to help you build that confidence. That's what my practice does.
No, I think it's very important, but like, how much are we talking? Like dollars?
How much work or how much dollars? I mean, I think I'm pretty reasonable. You can spend anything. You can travel across, go to the Dominican Republic and spend very little. You can go to certain guys with a tremendous social media following and spend way too much, quite frankly.
Right.
I mean, these days, if you're talking tummy and breasts and a little bit of lipo, it's going to be in the 40, 50 range, something like that.
Okay.
Which is, it's not nothing.
So marry rich, ladies.
But that said, you're to some degree you get what you pay for, right?
You do. Yes.
And there's a lot of kind of mediocre work out there. There's a lot of mediocre work that people pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
For example, like looking at tummy tucks, for example. So I've done more tummy tucks than any other single operation. I've done several thousand of them at this point.
Okay.
And, a tummy tuck involves, taking off the excess skin from the abdomen, doing a little sculpting lipo, and part of it is redoing the belly button. So the belly button gets reinserted into a new spot.
Whoa, I didn't think about that.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of an important, like the hallmark of a good tummy tuck versus a kind of mediocre tummy tuck is a belly button that looks like you were born with it.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that was surgically created, something where the surgeon cut a hole and sewed your old belly button into place.
Right. Well, let's talk about the scar, though, because I have a couple friends that have had tummy tucks, not from you, but in different states.
Sure.
And their scar, although it's below the bikini line, it kind of looks like they got chopped in half.
It's by definition, it's long. You're putting get big things done. Sometimes you need to make a big incision, but we take that seriously. And there are things to be done to optimize that scar. From my end, place it in the right place. Like put it nice and low, put it in a position where you can cover it with a bathing suit bottom, cover it with your underwear. So basic stuff.
Right.
Close it meticulously under minimal tension. Do the operation right. I do my job right and sew it up nicely.
Yeah.
But then, the other things going forward. It's the silicone scar sheets. It's the lasers. It's the microneedling. It's some, other products that we can use in the incision to help it heal better, to help it scar better. So it's really this multi-step process that we're taking to give you the best scar that your body can form, ideally. That's what we're shooting for. Yeah.
And then what about if somebody just has the little bit of the stretched out skin on the, but it's not too bad. It's just kind of in a pouch. Can they do laser for that, or is a tummy tuck really?
A lot of these minimally invasive things, the results are pretty disappointing, quite honestly.
And it's expensive.
They are. So you can waste a lot of money on machines. And machines have their place. I love skin tightening with Renuvion J Plasma. I love that with lipo. Is it a substitute for a tummy tuck or in some sort of excisional operation? No, definitely not. If you have skin that's truly hanging, that's truly crepey, got a bunch of stretch marks, you really have no choice. To make it look really nice and smooth, you got to cut a piece off.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of like recognizing when that's the right thing to do. Everybody wants the least possible operation. Everybody wants less surgery, less downtime, less recovery, less of an incision, less of a scar. But sometimes the right way to get where you want to get is to do those things, is to submit to a little bit of downtime, submit to an incision, and manage it appropriately, manage expectations from my standpoint. But, manage it clinically the right way so that it ends up something that's beyond acceptable. It looks great. Honestly, the scar from a tummy tuck or breast lifts or a lot of these body contouring operations that I do, everybody worries about it a lot going in. Almost nobody complains about it afterward.
Okay, because when you lift the boot, so the breast lift, because I've had friends that have had breast lifts, not by you, but it looked like there was like a whole cross. So how?
There can be. So lifting a breast, to effectively lift a breast, at least in my hands, you really need to take out a piece of skin from the lower pole of the breast, and usually like a little crescent of skin from above and around the areola. Most breast lifts that I do take everything that you've got, put it into a higher, tighter package up higher on the chest wall.
Okay.
Can be done with an implant, can be done without an implant if you have enough tissue to manipulate on your own to make a nice breast. But no matter what, to lift a breast effectively, you got to make a scar. And that is a trade-off. And the breast scar is something that people will have some hesitancy about. Now, that said, the scar around the areola tends to hide like nothing. The vertical scar, very forgiving spot for a scar, tends to flatten out beautifully. And then, in the fold underneath the breast, from my end, I always try and minimize. So the kind of a classic breast lift or breast reduction, it's a big anchor. So it's the vertical scar, the scar around the areola, and then a big curved line in the fold underneath the breast. It's a lot. I do everything I can to minimize that big scar at the bottom. So keep it as short as I possibly can. Keep it out of the armpit. Keep it out of the cleavage so you can still wear a pretty small bikini. Nobody can tell you have a scar there. And then do all the scar things, just like with the tummy tuck. The silicone scar sheets, the microneedling. The products. So again, there are steps that we can take to optimize what those scars look like. And again, nobody's complaining about the scars afterward.
Do you think that we're going to see in the next 10 years where, they do like knee and hearts now endoscopically? Do you think we're going to see that in the future of plastic surgery?
There has been endoscopic plastic surgery for a while.
Okay.
I'm not a guy who does it.
Okay.
But for example, like brow lift. So when I trained in residency, like we learned how to do a brow lift, getting, your forehead and your brows up endoscopically. Four little incisions behind the hairline, freeing everything up with the assistance of a camera and kind of a long pokey stick. And then somehow lifting everything and then securing it to the skull. It sounds gory, but it lets you hide incisions. It's limited to what you can accomplish. And there are guys out there who are the masters of the endoscope. Hiding facelift incisions. In the back of the head somehow. There are guys doing breast lifts endoscopically. Am I those guys? No. I think there probably is a role, but it's not widespread at this point.
Okay.
Everybody's looking for less of an incision, less of a scar.
And less of downtime.
Less downtime, sure. Downtime is predictable, though. And, one of the trends that I'm seeing these days and in plastic surgery in general is, people are willing to submit to a little bit more downtime than perhaps before to get a little bit more of a result.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
For a while it was all about, the non-invasives, the minimally invasives. What can you accomplish with fillers and Botox and injectables and lasers and minimally invasive things like M-Sculpt? And a lot of those results, they're again, those devices and those modalities have their place, but they really have their limits. And so we're seeing people getting facelifts, for example, at much younger ages now.
Well, they're recommending it now.
Absolutely. Because, It's an easy recovery, relatively speaking. I mean, it sounds like this whole big thing, but it's scars that hide like nothing. A facelift done right is really imperceptible once it heals. So it's an incision that goes, kind of skirts the back of the tragus and where the ear meets the cheek and behind the earlobe. Younger skin pulls nicer than older skin. Younger faces redrape more nicely. Problems that we try and temporize with filler, like nasolabial folds and like descent at the midface.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with filler. Fillers fill. Fillers don't lift.
Right.
When our body ages, things fall. The midface descends. You become flat across the midface. You form the nasolabial folds. You get square along the jawline. You form the little jowls there.
Yeah.
And you can do, and you start to see those changes in your 30s.
It's crazy.
Or sometimes younger, yeah. And traditionally, it was those people in their 30s who were, do a little bit of Botox, do a little bit of filler, do these kind of minimal measures to try and kick it down the road and then get a facelift when you're in your mid-50s. Now, you can correct all of those things with perhaps less of a facelift, short scar facelift, and it fixes all those things. It resets the clock 10 years with imperceptible scars. Relatively easy recovery. Facelift recovery, not hard. Very, very predictable. Not painful. Most people don't take any narcotic. You can do it with Tylenol and Advil, honestly.
But what about the swelling, though?
Predictable. Again, any surgery you perform on anybody, you're going to swell to some degree. You're going to have to. You're going to lock yourself in your apartment more or less for a week or so.
Yeah.
But by a week, you're doing pretty well. Facelift in my office. We do the facelift. You come out of the OR. 3 or 4 hours later, wrapped up with this big bulky thing around your head. One of my nurses stays with you in the Pierre, the Plaza, something like that. Come see me the next morning. Unwrap everything. You're not in pain. You feel kind of numb. Often we'll do like a CO2 laser with it, so you look like you have a little bit of a sunburn.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy. Go home, take a shower, wash your face, wash your hair, and just lay low for the next week or so. You can walk around. You can live your life. You just got to chill.
Yeah.
See me in a week. Stitches come out. By 3 weeks, nobody can tell anything was done to you.
What?
No, at a conversational distance. I mean, you're not done healing yet by any stretch.
Right.
But you're back in the world doing things. You're wearing makeup. You're going to events. You're back to all of life, basically. You can work out. Facelift recovery, remarkably short, remarkably easy. And, these operations work better on younger tissues than older tissues.
So do I need a facelift?
No. You're not. You're nowhere close. And you're what, 25?
Yeah, exactly. I don't actually wish, because 25, my mindset
We're idiots
wasn't
at 25.
where it was. Exactly.
Exactly.
Everyone's like, I want to be 25. I actually think I look better now than I did at 25.
I didn't know you at 25, but you look pretty good.
No, I was like, I drank a lot, and I ate a lot.
I mean,
and I tried to work out, but I was like kind of like 10 pounds heavier.
You could get away with it then also.
Yeah.
And like a few extra pounds doesn't look bad on somebody in their 20s.
No, it was fine.
Like a little.
It matched my Coors Light in my hand, it was great.
There you go.
It was great. So I don't know if I told you offline, but did I ever tell you how I got my breast implants done?
No, I never heard the story.
I need to get them redone, but in due time.
We can talk.
They were done through my belly button.
Yeah.
So it was scarless, but they don't really do that anymore.
Not really. That was a thing for a little while, going back 15, 20 years or so. There was a period, so you can only do that with saline implants. So the technique is make a little incision in the belly button, and there are these tools. There's this big tube that you thread up there, and everything gets fed through this tube, and you make a pocket from 2 feet away, and snake a saline implant in there and fill it up.
Right. That's what was done with me.
It's nice to not have any incision on the breast. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of a gimmick. Saline implants were the only thing available for a while, for a period between about 1999 and 2006, I believe. And then silicone implants came back, and since then the pendulum has swung far in the opposite direction. Most plastic surgeons that I know, myself included, are doing 99+% silicone implants now.
Okay.
Now, what the reasoning behind that? There was I compare it to like the anti-vax campaign, where it's like really suspect data and some evangelical people who decided, I have these problems. I have silicone breast implants. Silicone breast implants cause my problems.
Okay.
So as they say, correlation is not causation.
Right.
So there was this whole, kind of row for a number of years, and the FDA pulled their clearance from silicone breast implants for further study.
Right.
Extensive further study was performed, and it was decided that they didn't do anything bad.
Okay.
Or nothing more than saline breast implants would do to you.
Well, now there's a lot of people taking them out because some were getting sick from it. So how do people kind of prevent that? And does it actually increase inflammation in the body having a foreign object in there?
So in theory, no. So you're referring to something called breast implant illness, and I am a bit of a skeptic when it comes to breast implant illness. So what that is, similar to what I just said, it's people with any number of different symptoms, and there have been, if you read the literature, ever-growing list of now more than 200 different physical complaints. Anything from hair falling out to rashes to headaches to GI complaints to problems with menstruation to, you name it. And people will attribute these problems to having breast implants in there. And so this all gets lumped together in this breast implant illness. Is there something to it? Maybe.
Yeah.
Has there been any actual scientific proof? No.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's extensive writing about it in the plastic surgery literature, but there has been no molecular chemical correlation between having a silicone implant in you and getting any of these complaints, none of which really match up with each other.
So you prefer silicone over saline?
100%.
Okay.
So the silicone implants that are on the market now, and there are really 3 or 4 different companies that make them and sell them in the U.S. They all have very similar technology. So what's inside the implant is a cohesive silicone gel, the so-called gummy bear.
Yeah.
So if you're to poke a hole in that implant and squeeze it, nothing comes out. It's not a liquid. It's the consistency of a gummy bear candy. So it's like this kind of sticky, weird stuff. But the outer shell of the implant is very thin but very strong silicone rubber. The outer shell of breast implants has always been made of silicone to some degree. It's just a matter of what's inside it. Even your saline breast implants, the outer shell is a silicone rubber.
Right.
And that shell has come a long way also. What's on the market now is very pliable. It's very thin but extremely durable. I actually ran one of these things over with my car for an Instagram post a couple of years ago.
Oh.
And it's just like, for a fun thing, makes for a fun video, but like legit, they're incredibly durable. And if you are to rupture one, you've got greater problems than your ruptured breast implant. It takes a tremendous amount of force to rupture a modern breast implant. And if you do, you can't tell. Like if you pop one of your saline implants, your boob's going to deflate.
Yeah. That's why you're on speed dial.
Right. And saline breast implants in general, they don't last forever. They can't. They're put in as an empty shell and then filled. They have a little valve, which over time, that valve loses some of that saline. So saline implants over time will always deflate to some degree. I'll take out a pair of saline breast implants that's been in there 20 years, and they're significantly underfilled. They're put in as like this nice taut bag. They come out and like they're floppy. They ripple. You can feel
it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. They've been in there 15 years. I'm sure you can feel your implant.
Yeah, God.
The modern implants.
Almost 16. Oh my God.
Really?
Too long.
It's time. And it's so easy. Implant exchanges are so easy.
And the recovery's probably last.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
If you're just doing exchange, it's very little.
But I never got cut, so there's no. Will that make a difference if I never got cut before? Or?
No, we just make a new incision. And honestly, the incision the big deal that was made over hiding breast implant incisions. I've done them every conceivable way except through the belly button. I never actually learned how to do that, which is fine.
Yeah.
When I trained in residency, with one of my breast gurus in residency in Rhode Island, he did everything through the armpit. So I did a ton of those in my early career.
Yeah.
And it's, it works, but there are disadvantages. You can hide the incision in the armpit, so nobody sees it unless you're wearing a tank top and go, woo!
Right.
Then they see it. But it's kind of indirect access to the pocket.
Okay.
I like control in the operating room, right? I like to be able to decide, within millimeters where I'm putting that implant, where it's going to sit. the size and shape of the pocket. I want to be able to access that easily and control it easily. Best way to do that is in the fold under the breast.
Yeah.
4 centimeters. It's, an inch and a quarter. It's this big.
Okay, so it's like nothing.
It's like nothing. We measure it and calculate exactly where the fold's going to end up once the implant is in, and it hides.
That's amazing.
And we do all the scar things, the microneedling, the silicone tape, and all that. It settles down to nothing.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know. And then what about, like, back to kind of mommy makeover stuff? Are you guys doing, like, vaginal rejuvenation stuff, too?
I mean, so I'll make the outside pretty. I won't touch the inside.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to mess with anybody's sexual function. And,
Right.
I mean, it's...
So let's talk about, I'm sure you've heard this, your father, the gentleman stitch. When the baby's contract, you want the extra one? And like,
I mean, I don't know if that's actually a thing. Like when you sew up a vaginal tear in childbirth, make it a little extra tight.
But they did. They called it the gentleman stitch. It was a whole thing.
I have heard this. I'm not personally experienced in it, but sure. I mean, the thing is, like, the vagina is meant to bounce back. It's meant to push out babies and bounce back and go back to more or less normal. It has a lot of elasticity.
Yeah.
I think some of these procedures and the women who go to get these procedures, conjecture on my part, I think it's based in some sort of insecurity that someone, maybe a husband or a boyfriend, has said. Somebody said something. As with so many things in plastic surgery, somebody said something, and then it's in your head that I need to do something about it. I'm less than somehow because I'm stretched out or something. I mean, the reality.
Well, you don't want it to feel like you're throwing a hot dog down a hallway. Wasn't that the whole thing too?
Yeah, obviously not. But there are guys that'll do that. I mean, there's real risk. I mean, like I looked into it. I've had people ask me about it. Like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. I'll read up on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cutting off a piece of the back wall of the vagina, and you're millimeters away from the wall of the colon, and there are big blood vessels there. And if you screw it up, you be in real deep trouble.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I like safe.
Yeah.
No,
that's good, right?
It is not worth it to me to do that. That said, I'll make the outside really pretty. Like I love labiaplasty. I think.
What the hell is a labiaplasty?
Labiaplasty is generally trimming the labia minora to make them a little more compact and cute.
Oh, so they're not hanging out like roast beef curtains?
Yeah, to be uncouth.
Hey, I said it, not you.
You said it, not me. I mean, that's it again.
My
like
audience knows
it's
me.
often a somebody said something type thing, but some women like decidedly warrant it.
Yeah.
I had a 17-year-old girl who's like a competitive cheerleader, and she had discomfort, and she very much needed it. And her parents brought her in, and it's. There was a medical need for this. I mean, but that's not the vast majority of people.
Okay.
But it's relatively easy and straightforward to do a nice labiaplasty, to take something where there's like a little more than you want and turn it into something that's really cute. Works completely normally, and once it heals, it is imperceptible. Nobody can tell anything was done.
So a lot of people need this after they push babies out?
It's just normal anatomy.
Okay.
It's like honestly, the more patients get labiaplasty before having kids, in my experience, it's women in their 20s and 30s who haven't had kids yet, who are like out there and single.
Yeah, they're like, I gotta make it look good.
Right. I mean, that's my personal experience. Like I don't, I can't speak too much to does childbirth screw it up? I don't think it does. I think, with age, certain things lose volume and stretch out a little bit. But I think largely it's not a childbirth related thing. I mean, that said, it can be done under local we give these little ketamine candies in the office. We do topical numbing. Oh, we make it, it's a really pleasant experience, actually. It's totally not bad. So we give you a little ketamine candy. So you're like a little high. You don't go to sleep, but you're just like, you don't care. We put topical numbing, just like we're going to do a laser on your face.
Yeah.
Put topical numbing down there for 45 minutes. You feel nothing. So even when I inject the local anesthetic into the actual part we're operating on, you don't feel the injection. Put on some music, hang out behind the drape for 30 minutes or so. Done. Stitches are all dissolvable. Easy.
All right. So when you're talking about scars, obviously the whole buzzword in the industry now is exosomes.
Sure.
So, but the thing is, like everything, not all retin-A's are created equal. Not all vitamin C's are created. Not all exosomes are created equal.
Sure. So what's an exosome?
Yeah.
Exosomes have been around for a while at this point. And what it is, so it's you take a cell, any given cell pushes out molecules to communicate with other cells. So it has these little microscopic vesicles, these little bubbles of stuff that contain growth factors and other things. So they've isolated 200 plus different communicating molecules within these little vesicles that cells push out. And they can be used for things. So they can be used. There's the FDA approval is to do them topically. And that's what
you do on the scars when you're doing surgery.
Exactly. So we'll apply them topically. We apply them topically after microneedling or after a laser. It augments the effect of that, producing collagen. It helps you heal faster and scar better.
Well, you did my CO2 under my eye.
I did.
And I thought I'd look like a beat up dog for a week. I was fine in 2 days.
It's
3
nothing,
days.
yeah. So
it
the exosomes really turn the CO2 into like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You really notice like it just chills out local inflammation like nothing.
Well, it was so crazy because I was like, he could have gone a lot harder. But I think it was just the exosomes.
Just the
that took it
exosomes.
down.
No, it's like this magical stuff. So you can come talk to me in the office about further applications of exosomes. But back to your original question of, not all exosomes are created equal. So the ones that we use are from a lab called Chimera Labs. They're kind of the OG exosome guys.
Yeah.
And so what their product is, their exosomes are derived from a lab-grown cell line from originally a single human donor placenta.
Okay.
So it's one person, and you read their literature. It's pre-COVID and pre-vaccine. So it's going back a number of years where this donor placenta came from somebody's C-section. Donated the placenta to a lab, and the stem cells from the placenta have been immortalized in the lab and just maintained in tissue culture. And then by proprietary methods, the lab isolates the exosomes. The exosomes are far more stable than the cells themselves and really contain what you want from the cells.
Yeah.
Now, these are human from placenta. So there are exosomes out there from bovine sources or from other animal sources where the molecules are not bioidentical to what your body uses to turn on and off inflammation, to create healing. So those tend to be much cheaper products. Compared to, say, the exosomes that you have floating around in your own body, your 25-year-old exosomes.
Yeah.
These are
give or take
the pure stem cells, right? So This is the pure stuff from placenta. They have the most potential for growth and the highest concentration of growth factors. So that's what makes them better. And we've actually tried exosomes from different labs over the years.
Yeah.
And these guys. This is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. This is what we've seen the best results with, and they're legit.
Yeah, because you obviously want like the best product, but yeah, it's a big area now. Like Florida just said you can inject them, but you can't do it here. But it's a gray area, so
exactly. It's an area for a lot of development, a lot of kind of motion going forward in my industry, and just like in the aesthetics industry in general. There's a lot of promise. They've been shown to do a lot of cool stuff. So kind of stay tuned.
Well, because a lot of people were doing the PRP in their knees,
right?
Like if they had knee problems, This seems like it might be more regenerative one day.
We talk about it like PRP on steroids.
Okay.
PRP is platelet-rich plasma. So we isolate that by drawing tubes of your blood, putting it in a centrifuge to separate out just the plasma and platelet portion from the rest of it. The plasma and platelet portion contains your growth factors floating around in circulation.
Right.
Again, your 25-year-old growth factors. With in pretty low concentration, quite honestly, because it's just what's floating around in your circulation. We've been using PRP for hair growth. We use it after a laser, after a microneedling. Orthopedic applications, they inject into a joint to calm down joint inflammation for arthritis or general painful joints. It works.
Yeah.
The idea behind exosomes is that it's far more pure, far more potent, and doesn't involve sticking you with needles for the blood draw.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think it's also better because obviously, like your PRP, whatever, your plasma is dependent on how healthy you are.
Absolutely.
And especially what you've done maybe a week prior to.
Oh, totally.
So the Taco Bell and the Coors Light I had, probably not so good.
Exactly.
So, it's like you want to take other measures here,
Exactly. So this takes the you factor out of it.
Yeah.
And just like what you're getting is like from this one placenta from 2016 or whatever, just the only the best, most concentrated stuff. That baby didn't go out drinking last night. So,
right, exactly.
Right.
So this was one placenta, and then they basically took the gene, they mapped the gene. So it's not the actual placenta anymore, but it's the genes that are.
It's the cells. So
okay.
they've isolated cells from the placenta and then just grown them in tissue culture. They've been altered so that in some proprietary way so that they continue to grow in a lab. It's tissue culture. It's a technique that's gone back decades at this point.
Yeah.
In lab research. So cell lines of all different kinds are maintained in incubators and maintained in little plastic bottles in culture medium, and you can isolate what those cells produce and you can study those cells. So this is what they've done to a placenta-derived stem cell line. So kind of basic tissue culture techniques applied to this one donor placenta cell line. And they can crank these out in, the billions and trillions. Yeah.
I hope we get to meet the baby that came out of the placenta that was donated for us.
A teenager at this point.
Yeah, exactly. You're like pre-COVID, pre-vaccination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like before all the other stuff.
Exactly.
Which is good. So some of these other labs are getting them from animals or post-COVID?
Yeah, well, I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but it's more of a marketing point from their standpoint. I think they're the only ones using human placenta. I think another common source is bone marrow.
Okay.
So human bone marrow cells. I mean, yeah, they're we have a lot of stem cells in our bone marrow. That's how we make white blood cells. It's how we make the cells that make up our blood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an easy source. So again, bone marrow derived cell line. The idea is that it's the placenta is far more pure, far more concentrated than anything you could isolate from the bone.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, it'll be exciting to see what kind of happens in this area, and if it's going to be able to postpone facelifts even more, maybe.
We'll see. It's exciting stuff. What a time to be alive.
I know it is. But the thing is, like, you look back and it's always like, the good old days. Like, I'm talking about days when I wasn't even alive, like how my grandparents grew up, right? Things were simple. They seemed like everybody stayed married. They had the love of their lives. Everything, they owned 2 homes on a single salary. Life was good,
Sure.
right? And now it's just, there's just so much crap, and it's like the simple days, kind of like how you and I grew up, right? You didn't have a cell phone; you just went out and came back before it was dark. It was
right. For me, it was the '80s. Come back before the streetlights come on.
Yeah, mine were the
right?
'90s.
Exactly.
It was the same thing, but it's. But then you think about but they didn't have all the advancements that we have in skincare and surgeries. So, do you want to have less quality of life and a better face? I mean, it's. I guess it's all
Is
perception.
it less quality of life? It is all perception,
Maybe we just are exposed to more. So there probably was a lot of crap going on back then. We just didn't see it in front of our faces all the time.
Of course there was. I mean, medicine has come such a long way in the last 20, 30, 40 years. Never mind this beauty stuff. Never mind aesthetic plastic surgery. I mean, once upon a time, talk about a heart transplant or something like that, which, in the 80s, that was some of the first heart transplant happened. Now they do them all the time. Not that it's routine, but it's relatively routine. Valve replacement and things like that. Reconstructive surgery after breast cancer removal has come such a long way. Using your own tissue to reconstruct a breast. That was this hot new thing 20 years ago. Now it's just done every single day. So it's, in terms of medical advances, it's better to live now than it was to live 20, 30, 40 years ago.
For sure. But you got to have more money now, but it's definitely a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. it comes with some challenges. So,
yeah, exactly.
Keep booking plastic surgery.
Yeah, so it's but no, it's interesting. My nieces are 11 and 12. When they're my age, it's I feel like you're going to be able to go in. They're going to just blast you with a light and that's going to be your facelift. I don't know.
Who knows? 20, 30 years from now, I don't. Yeah, my kids are little. I've got a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 3-month-old, and like what the world is going to look like, when my 3-month-old goes to college and I'm pushing 70. Sobering reality. Is plastic surgery still going to be a thing? I think so. I think there are certain aspects of medicine that are going to be taken over a little bit.
Well, what's kind of scary, though, about plastic surgery is great, but what's kind of scary about it is, like, people go to these other countries so they can get it more affordably. But the amount of advancements in the work that you guys can do now, I heard this on another podcast where this guy said, listen, your looks are only going to take you so far because anyone with 20 to 50 grand can look however they want these days. These guys are good. But if you don't have a personality or something else to add to the table, you're toast. So work more on your personality than your inflatable lips. And I thought it was a good point because it's true.
A great point.
With 50 grand, you could change your... Have you seen some of these, like, some of the people that transition? These men become even more beautiful than and I'm like, what the? It's not real, but it's like, oh my, you're blown away by it.
It's truly incredible. That stuff again, an area of plastic surgery. You don't have an excuse
not to be hot anymore.
Well, that's being a little hard on yourself, I think, and placing some expectations that I'd rather not place on my daughters.
Yeah, that's true, right? You got to love the way God made you. Yeah.
Right, exactly. However, we have come a long way.
Yeah.
To your point, some of the transgender stuff is just truly incredible, and these guys pushing the envelope and shaving off bone on foreheads and jaw lines and just facial feminization is incredible. What they can do with genital surgery, just make something that you just can't tell.
It's wild.
No, it's incredible. And I give my colleagues
it's making my nose run.
Right? From my standpoint, I'm just trying to do the best possible mommy makeover, the best possible body contouring that I can.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to find a way to make the scar a little better, make the breasts a little cuter, make the operation quicker and more efficient, and the recovery easier.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
So do you do a lot of how much is involved with psych evaluation? Meaning, people might come in there and be they might have major body dysmorphia. Everybody has it a little bit. I have it a little bit. But they could be doing it for the wrong reasons. Do you ever push back on that?
Of course I do. It's hard sometimes. We don't send anybody for a formal psych evaluation. That's kind of if they're
you could just say hey, that you're doing this for the wrong reasons.
I've talked to enough people about enough plastic surgery at this point, as of my staff, that you see the red flags. And it really is about from my end, it's meeting expectations. Setting expectations from my end and having patients, be well aware of what those expectations are, having reasonable expectations, and me having the confidence to be able to meet them and to be able to convey that to them.
Yeah.
It's when there's a disconnect there. That's the big red flag. Whether or not they're truly crazy, most aren't. Most people we're all vain to some degree. We all
society we live in.
Well, everybody cares about how they look to one degree or another. Right?
I agree. They say the better you look and feel, the more money you make, and people got to survive. I'm all about putting your best self out there, but it's at what point do we? All right, let's switch to the all popular thing now. Everybody's on it, even if they don't need it, including myself once in a while. GLP-1s.
It's a thing. Everybody's on it.
I do it once a month just to kind of help, slow that digestion down a little bit, or I don't do the Ozempic, but the term Ozempic face really made a splash in plastic surgery.
Sure. So these drugs have really made an impact in my industry, to say the least. Okay. I feel like nearly everybody I see for some sort of body surgery consultation is on one or has been on one and has lost 30, 40, 50 pounds. It's the norm, not the exception these days.
Yeah.
Everybody has lost weight on these medications. And, there's a ton of health benefit to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. I've never taken one. I may at some point.
Lucky you.
I know, but lucky me. But, the side effect profile is fairly minimal, and they do great things for people. That said, it does a number on your body, losing a bunch of weight. So the Ozempic face thing, losing weight in your face ages you, unquestionably. In the face, fat equals youth. And losing the cheeks, losing that mid-cheek stuff, the buccal fat pads that we were taking out a whole bunch a few years ago, it just makes you look gaunt and drawn and old. So I think this is one of the factors contributing to getting facelifts in your 30s and 40s, as opposed to getting facelifts in your 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah.
People see their neck sagging, see the jowling, see that hollowing in the cheeks, and the descent of the mid-face, those hallmarks of aging earlier, because they've lost 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And, it's a real thing. By the same token, the body. You cannot lose 50 pounds in your body without paying some price, especially as you get a little bit older toward menopause, especially if you've had a baby or two. It takes the effects of that and just compounds it. So I'm doing more brachioplasties, more arm lifts these days than I ever was before. I used to do a lot of arm liposuction, but the number of people who have extra skin hanging in the arm and, oh man, I hate this, I can't wear short sleeves, or I'm self-conscious putting my arm up in the air. So make a cut and take off the extra skin. Breasts, it deflates the breasts. So losing weight, taking otherwise like nice set of breasts and turn them into a deflated sack of skin. It's a fixable problem, but it's fixable surgically.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's always the chicken and the egg. It's like, what comes first? You just,
right.
I guess it's just try to live a healthy life and maintain a certain weight your whole life is really the answer.
Don't get fat to begin with.
Yeah, right, yeah.
No, but
or don't get too skinny, you know?
But I think there is obviously a healthy medium to be found here. And I'm overall in favor of these medications. I think they do great things for people.
Yeah.
I think it's making our population overall a healthier population. Those people who are
I agree.
on it. And fortunately, there are guys like me who can come along and give you a nice tummy tuck and a nice breast lift.
Yeah, the food industry hates it, but you guys love it.
Love it.
The restaurants are like, damn it,
I know, right?
Why are our profits down? Like nobody's eating anymore. But they are great. So so what if somebody just gets a little gaunt in their face, but they don't need a whole facelift? Is there anything you guys can do there?
Sure, I like Sculptra.
Okay.
So Sculptra has been around for a long time. It's a medication that was an injectable.
Yeah.
Been around since the late 80s, I believe. It was originally.
Really?
Yeah. So the older HIV medications, which would cause like this tremendous wasting in the face.
Yeah.
Sculptra its original indication was to combat that wasting that people got on these older HIV medications. It was then kind of expanded to the greater population, and now it's everywhere. But it's a medication that's been on the market for a long time. It's not a traditional injectable, so most of the fillers that we inject these days are hyaluronic acid, HA fillers, whether it's a Juvederm or a Restylane, or there are a bunch of others on the market now as well. This is different. Sculptra is something different. It's little particles of this stuff called PLLA, poly-L-lactic acid, which is actually a component of one of the dissolvable sutures that we use. So it goes away. Your body digests it, but in the process, it creates this little bit of a localized inflammatory response, so you build up tissue. You build up tissue around these little particles of PLLA, and so gradually over 6 weeks with some massage in the area that we've injected, it builds up this kind of nice, gentle, but very durable, natural-looking fill.
Yeah.
It lasts a good 2 to 3 years plus sometimes.
So do you like it more than fillers?
For certain applications. I like it for filling larger areas, like wasting in the mid-face. I like it for temples,
Yeah.
Those are probably my two favorite places to put it in the face to restore lost volume in a face that's been really thinned out.
Okay.
I don't love it for cheeks. I don't think it's as precise as I want it to be. I don't love it for nasolabial folds. Again, it's not that precise. But for filling kind of more diffuse areas in kind of a very natural way that lasts a long time, there's nothing else like it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And they were saying, like, with these fillers, what they're finding is that they're not going away. And so when people go in and do facelifts, they're finding all this leftover filler from years and years ago. But does Sculptra go away, or are they finding stuff?
I personally, in my facelifts, have not run into a problem with Sculptra. I mean, yes, sure, there can be some nodularity long term. But I think in general, the HA fillers are more of a culprit for that. You'll have people who have lip filler, been getting lip filler regularly for years, and then stop. And years later, there's still filler in there. So lips under the eyes, that's another really
that's a place they don't go anymore now.
Oh, I hate injecting filler under the eyes. There are other things I'll inject under the eyes, like platelet-rich fibrin. But what I don't like is filler under the eye. 'Cause it's really thin skin. It's really hard to camouflage the filler. It's a non-mobile area, so it almost never goes away. So years down the road, you'll see this little blue ridge under the skin
of
filler. Yeah, it's called Tyndall effect, and it's due to having filler that's insufficiently covered by skin, so you see it. And you can dissolve it. Usually takes some rounds of dissolving and takes some effort, and the stuff we inject to dissolve doesn't feel that good.
No, you did it in my lips.
I know I did.
It was awful.
It worked.
It worked. It was horrible.
I don't know how many rounds, but we did. 3 or 4. But yeah, Hylenex burns like hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get rid of HA filler, but sometimes, especially if it's been in there a long time, it's not an easy proposition.
Yeah. Because the lips are hard, though, because it's like I want my lips to be a little bigger, and you're like, no.
You don't need it.
They won't fit your face. But I'm like, I just want a little bit more.
A little bit's okay.
Yeah. But do you have to dissolve it every single time?
Not necessarily. But if there is...
How do you get height versus the... Because the duct used to be the thing. Now that's not the thing anymore.
Nobody
it's
wants
the height.
It's... So you can get a little bit of height, a little bit of eversion of the lip by injecting Botox, the so-called,
lip flip or
lip
whatever.
flip, yeah, exactly. So the lip flip. So what that does, you're weakening the muscle that makes the pucker. You're not totally paralyzing it. You're just weakening it so that the kind of unopposed action of the other muscles gives you a little bit of pout.
Yeah.
It doesn't last very long. It's a really small amount of Botox that you inject, 2 to 3 units in each the top and the bottom. It lasts a good 2 to 3 months, maybe, and then it goes away. But it's subtle. You're never going to look overdone. You're never going to look like a duck. Most of the lips I do these days, I'm either doing that or I'm doing a really gentle, soft filler like Volbella. So that's Allergan, Juvederm. That's their softest filler. It's made for lips. It's nearly impossible to overdo somebody with it.
Okay, that's good.
Because it doesn't have a lot of structure to it. So we'll inject it. I'll do 3/4 of a 1 cc syringe divided between both lips and say don't come back to me for a year.
Okay.
So like light touch,
So when they come back to you after a year, do you need to dissolve what was in there?
Not typically. There might be little bits left in there, and I'll often take that into account. That kind of classic like filler migration look where the filler bleeds kind of outward from the lips themselves. You have that ridge above the lip. I want to avoid that at any cost when I'm injecting lips.
Yeah.
So what I won't do is like re-inject the border again and again. If there's still filler along the border, like a little bit left, I'll just inject in the substance of the lip just to plump it.
Yeah.
Again.
It's like the micro
subtle. And if there is significant filler still left in there and it's not doing what we want it to do, let's dissolve. Let's do a round of dissolving. Come back and see me in 2 weeks, and we'll re-inject you.
Perfect. So it's all good.
It's easy.
All right. Well, where can people find you, come to see you, all that good stuff? You can look directly at that camera.
800A 5th Avenue, Suite 101 in Manhattan, corner of 61st Street and 5th Avenue, right on the ground floor. Got a sign outside the building. We got our own OR. We've got champagne. Staff's really nice. Come see me.
Well, where can they find you? On
the internet and all that stuff. So
and your website.
all that stuff. Right. Website, ZuckermanPlasticSurgery.com. Instagram, Plastic Surgeon NYC, all one word. And within that, there's a link to a before and after. Instagram, which is the Zuckerman Plastic Surgery Instagram. On TikTok, I'm Zuckerman Plastic Surgery. I think we have a YouTube channel as well, but I haven't put anything up on there in a while, also called Zuckerman Plastic Surgery. And yeah, find me on the internet, Zuckerman Plastic Surgery, and ZuckermanPlasticSurgery.com.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Awesome.
I was happy to
Thanks,
not see you without a needle.
Yeah,
right, exactly. All right, well, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who's listening. We will see you next time to find out who's next. Bye. Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.